You know, when you look through student forums about the AP history exams, there's this almost visceral reaction to one specific section. We get descriptions like sweaty armpits, bowels squealing, and my personal favorite was just existential dread.
Sounds more like a horror movie review than a history test.
It really does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But we are talking about the short answer question section, the SAQ. It's that part of the exam, APUSH, Oradage, World, Euro, all of them, where the comfort of multiple choice just vanishes. You turn the page and bam, just blank lines.
The dreaded blank lines. And it's funny because psychologically that blank space feels like a total loss of control for so many students. But the truth is, and all the sources we've looked at for this point to it, this should actually be the most mechanical part of the entire exam.
I think that's why we're doing this deep dive. We want to get past that dread. The mission here isn't about, being some kind of history genius. It's not about writing the next great novel.
No, not at all. It's about understanding the architecture of the test. We need to gamify it. The goal today is to turn the SAQ into a logic puzzle with a repeatable formula, not some creative writing prompt you have to invent from scratch.
So let's lay it all out. What's the landscape here? We know it's a pretty big chunk of your grade.
It is. It's 20% of your total exam score.
Mm-hmm.
On the day, you get 40 minutes for the whole section. Now, 40 minutes, that might sound okay.
It sounds decent, yeah.
But when you actually break it down, it's a sprint, a total sprint.
Because it's not just one question you're answering.
Exactly. You get 4 questions, but, and this is super important, you only answer 3 of them. So if you do the quick math, that gives you about, 12 to 13 minutes per question?
Wow. Okay, that's not a lot of time.
Not at all. That's barely enough time to think, let alone plan and write. There's no time to stare at the ceiling.
So the structure has to be really predictable then.
And it is. Question 1 is required. It always uses a secondary source, like a historian's argument. Question 2 is also required, and that one uses a primary source, an image, a map, a letter.
And then comes the choose-your-own-adventure part.
That's a perfect way to put it. Questions 3 and 4. You pick one, and these have no stimulus, no reading, no picture, just a prompt. Question 3 is usually from an earlier period, and question 4 is from a later one.
I've seen so many students online just tie themselves in knots over this choice. They think, oh, question 4 is about something more modern. Maybe the graders will be more impressed if I pick the harder one.
That is a trap. A massive, massive trap. There is no difficulty bonus. A point is a point is a point. The consensus from every expert guide is simple. Take the path of least resistance.
So it's about building confidence. If you see question 3 and you can immediately think of 2 facts, you just take it. You don't hesitate.
100%. You go with the question where the evidence is already bubbling up in your brain. Don't be a hero. Okay, so we've managed the clock. We've picked our question. Now we actually have to, write the thing.
Yeah.
And this, I think, is where the biggest myth lives. We're all conditioned from English class to write an essay.
And that conditioning will absolutely kill your score here. The most important rule we found is what we're calling the no essay rule. You do not write an intro. You do not write a thesis. And you definitely do not write a conclusion.
Which feels wrong. It feels almost rude, like you're just barking facts at the person grading it.
It might feel rude to you, but trust me, for an AP grader reading thousands of these, it's a gift. They're on a scavenger hunt for points. They do not want fluff. You're aiming for like 2 to 4 really content-rich sentences for each part A, B, and C. That's it.
So if it's not an essay, it has to be a formula. I keep seeing these acronyms pop up in the sources ACE and TEA.
Yeah, they're basically the same engine with a different paint job. ACE is answer, cite, explain. TEA is topic, sentence, evidence, analysis. It doesn't matter which one you remember. The process is identical.
Let's walk through it, because I think that last letter, the E or the A, that's where people lose the point. But let's start at the beginning. Answer. Seems simple enough.
You'd think so, but people get poetic. Your first sentence needs to directly answer the prompt using the language from the question itself. If it asks, what was one cause of the Great Depression? Don't start with, the Roaring '20s were a time of great change.
Right, cut all that. Just say, one cause of the Great Depression was the over-speculation in the stock market.
Boom. Exactly. You've answered the question. Now you need to cite the evidence. This is where you bring in a proper noun.
A proper noun. So not just people bought stocks, but
investors buying stock on margin. Or you could name a specific event like the Black Tuesday stock market crash of 1929. You need specific factual details. Vagueness gets you 0 points.
Okay, and then the heavy lifting, the explain or analysis.
This is the connective tissue. This is where you tell the grader why your piece of evidence proves your answer. You have to connect the what to the so what.
To strip away all the history anxiety for a second, one of the sources used this great non-historical example with the COVID pandemic. I think it makes the logic really clear.
Oh, yeah, that was a great one. Let's run through it.
Okay, so imagine the prompt is, explain one way American society resisted change during the pandemic. Using ACE, my answer would be something like, American society resisted the change of lockdowns by prioritizing a rapid return to normalcy through medical innovation.
Good. Use the prompt's language, resisted change. Now, give me the site, the evidence.
The federal government's Operation Warp Speed partnered with companies like Pfizer to develop and approve a vaccine in under a year.
Perfect. Proper nouns all over the place. Operation Warp Speed, Pfizer. You've proven you know the facts. Now, explain. Why does that matter? Connect it.
This unprecedented speed allowed businesses and schools to reopen, which enabled society to actively reject the new normal of remote life and return to pre-pandemic social and economic structures.
And that's the point. See, you didn't just say they made a vaccine. You explained that the vaccine was the tool used to resist a fundamental lifestyle change. That final connection is everything.
It seems so mechanical when you break it down like that. But okay, let's apply this to a tougher one. That question one, the secondary source with the two historians arguing.
Yes. The one that causes the most stress. So you'll get, say, historian A arguing the Industrial Revolution was all about technology, like the steam engine. And then you'll have historian B who argues it was really about labor shifts, like the enclosure movement creating a new workforce.
Okay, so part A of the question asks you to explain a difference.
Right. And your answer is direct. Historian A credits technological innovation as the primary cause, while historian B emphasizes changes in labor and capital. Simple as that.
You just state their beef.
You state the beef. But then part B will ask for something like, provide one piece of outside evidence that supports historian A's argument.
And this is where everyone's instinct is to go reread the little paragraph from historian A.
And that's the trap. You can't. The answer is not in the document. It has to be outside evidence. You have to pull a fact from your own brain that supports the technology argument.
So if historian A already mentioned the steam engine in his little text, I can't use the steam engine.
Correct. You need a new noun. You have to bring something new to the party. You could say, Eli Whitney's invention of the cotton gin supports historian A, as it was a technological device that dramatically increased production efficiency.
I see. So you're basically bringing a new witness to the stand to back up your guy's story.
That's a perfect analogy. You're the lawyer bringing in a new witness.
Speaking of having nothing to look at, let's talk about those non-stimulus questions 3 and 4. I love this technique mentioned in the source material, the brain dump.
The brain dump is a lifesaver.
Yeah.
It is the best defense against writer's block.
Okay, so walk me through it. I choose question 3. It's about the Great Depression. I haven't written a single sentence yet. What do I do first?
Before you write a single word of your answer, you take 30, maybe 60 seconds and you just scribble. In the margins, on the test booklet, you write down every single proper noun, date, or event about the Great Depression that pops into your head. Don't censor it, don't organize it, just dump it.
Okay, let's do it. Go.
Hoovervilles, Dust Bowl, New Deal, FDR, CCC, Holly Smoot tariff, Black Tuesday, Social Security Act, WPA, go.
Okay, stop. So now I have this menu of options.
You have a bank of evidence. So when Part A asks for a cause, you look at your list and grab Holly Smoot tariff. When Part B asks for a government response, you grab CCC or Social Security. You're not stopping mid-sentence trying to remember the name of an agency. It's already there.
It separates the act of remembering from the act of writing. That's actually really smart. It lowers the cognitive load.
It's your safety net. You start writing about the CCC, then you blank on what it did. No problem. You look at your list and pivot to Social Security.
Okay, let's pivot back to the stimulus questions for a second. The map, the political cartoon. The sources recommend a very specific order of operations.
Yes. The big trap here is just starting by looking at the picture. Your eyes are drawn to it. You want to analyze it. Don't.
Step 1 is always read the questions.
Always. Read A, B, and C first. You need to know what you're hunting for. A cause. A point of view. A specific effect.
And step 2 isn't even looking at the image either, is it? It's the little line of text at the bottom.
The attribution line. It's the most overlooked part of the entire exam. That tiny text that says, Source, Thomas Nast, Harper's Weekly, 1874.
Why is that so critical?
Because half the time, it gives you the answer for free. If a question asks about the author's point of view and you see the source is a Northern abolitionist newspaper in 1859, You already know the point of view before you even read the text.
It gives you the context. You're not just analyzing a random cartoon. You're analyzing a cartoon by this specific person at this specific time.
Exactly. Then, and only then, you skim the document. And I mean skim. It's a scavenger hunt for the answer to the question you've already read. You are not there to appreciate the art.
I love that. We're not browsing, we're hunting. Okay, we've covered the what to do. I want to hit some of the big danger zones, the things that will just absolutely tank your score.
Number 1, with a bullet, is quoting the document.
That's so counterintuitive because in English class, that's what you're supposed to do.
And in AP History, it's proof you can't do the work. The grader has the document right in front of them. They know what it says. If you waste your precious time copying a sentence, you are earning 0 points for that effort.
So the rule is never quote.
Never. Quote. You paraphrase. You translate it. If the document says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, you write, the author draws on Enlightenment ideals of natural rights to make his point. You have to show you understand the meaning behind the words.
Okay, hard rule, no quotes. What's the next trap?
The double dip. We mentioned it with historians, but it's big with images too. If Part A asks you to describe something in the image, and Part B asks for outside evidence, you cannot use something you can see in the picture for Part B.
Right, so if I'm looking at a photo of a factory and I can see child laborers and a steam engine...
Then child labor and steam engines are not outside evidence. They are inside evidence. They're right there. You have to bring in something new, like the rise of labor unions or urbanization leading to crowded tenements. It has to be something outside the literal frame of the picture.
That seems like such an easy point to lose just by being a little careless.
It happens constantly. People panic, they see a steam engine, and they just write about steam engines for all 3 parts.
Okay, there's one more trap I found really interesting. It's about the word identify.
Ah, the identify trap. This is a newer thing. It used to be that if a prompt said, identify one cause, you could literally just write slavery, one word, point.
That sounds way too easy.
It was. And the scoring is getting stricter. The expert consensus now, you see this from guys like Heimler, is that even if it says identify, you should treat it like an explain out.
So instead of just slavery,
You write, slavery, which created deep-seated economic and social divisions between the industrial North and the agrarian South. It takes 5 more seconds, and it bulletproofs your answer. You never want to leave it up to the grader's interpretation.
it's defensive writing. Don't give them any reason to say no.
Exactly that.
I want to talk about scoring for a minute because there's a huge silver lining here that I think can calm a lot of nerves. The scoring is compartmentalized.
This is the best news about the SAQ. Parts A, B, and C are scored independently. If you get to Part A and your mind is a complete blank, it has 0 impact on your score for B and C.
So I could totally bomb Part A, write nothing, but still get full credit for B and C, 2 out of 3 points.
You absolutely could. But, and this is big, but you should never, ever leave a section blank.
Right. A blank is a guaranteed 0.
Guaranteed. Even if you're totally guessing, throw a vocab word in there. If you know the time period, write down mercantilism or manifest destiny or containment. If by some chance you hit the right idea, you might get the point. There's no penalty for being wrong, only for being absent.
When in doubt, throw a vocab word out.
I like it. Let's make that a t-shirt. It could save you.
So let's put it all together. We're trying to move students from existential dread to logic puzzle. What's the final checklist for someone listening to this right before the exam?
It's simple. 1, watch the clock. 13 minutes per question, then move on. 2, read the questions before you read the stimulus. Know what you're hunting for. 3, use the formula, ACE. Answer, cite, explain. And 4, specific nouns. Don't say people got sick. Say Native American populations were decimated by smallpox. Specificity gets the points.
And the overall mindset.
The mindset is that these are free points. This is the one part of the test where you don't have to be a beautiful writer. You won't need flowing prose. You just need to be an architect. Build a sentence, grab the point, and move on.
You know, it occurs to me this is actually a really useful skill for, life. We always joke about, when will I ever use this? But the SAQ is really just asking for an executive summary.
It really is.
Yeah.
In any professional job law, business, anything, no one wants a 10-page report. They want the answer, the key piece of data, and why it matters in 3 sentences.
So we're not just cracking the code of the exam. We're learning how not to be the most annoying person in the email chain.
In a way, yeah. You're mastering the art of the concise, evidence-based argument.
I love that. Well, hopefully this clears away some of that fog. No more bowels squealing, everyone. Just go ACE the test.
You've got this. Good luck.
Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.